Hi, good morning. It's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. Guys, usually we talk about jet streams, and the reason why we talk about those is because they've been affected by cosmic rays, and in turn it has led to changing seasons. And it's the farmers at the end of the day that have to pick up what is left of the season to try and make a living. And I come across this article today because I think it brings it home to the real issues and problems that farmers are facing. More than one farmer a week in the UK dies by suicide. Can you believe it? These are probably one of the hardest working people I've ever come across in life. I remember the one day in the doctor's surgery, a gentleman walking in, elderly, squinting in pain. He'd been driving these agricultural tractors for over 30 years. I offered him the chair because he seemed like he was in a lot of pain. He says, I can't even sit down. And then he explained to me it was because he'd been driving these agricultural vehicles for 30 years and crushed nearly every disc in his spine as a result of it. And we take it for granted, don't we, guys? We see these guys in these tractors and you think what a job, what a brilliant job. But you see them swaying about in the cabs like jelly, as the vehicle goes over the rough terrain, and they're being banged up and down, and as that happens it crushes the spines. But it's becoming a real problem globally. It's not just farmers in the UK that are killing themselves. We're going to go and have a look later on in this video at some other countries with the same problems, but basically the reasons why they are committing suicide at the rate they are is because it has become a gamble, and they are gambling with everything they own, and something that has been preciously given them by their ancestors, as these farmlands have been passed down generation by generation. It comes down to what are we going to do? Is it too much of a risk to buy the crops, to put them in the ground? We already seen it. The crop yields of the UK this year suffering miserably because of the unpredictable weather and the changing seasons. These guys are no different to me and you. They have mortgages, they have loans, their equipment that they use is absolutely expensive. Let's just put it this way: a New Holland combine harvester can come in at over £1 million, and if you need such a piece of equipment, otherwise you can't do your job properly, then you're going to go out of business. So that you stack up the risks, and it's like everybody else in business. But you know what? My heart really does go out to farmers, because like I say, they are probably one of the hardest working people on this planet, and they really do a difficult job for us. I mean, it's nice that we don't have to go out in our spare time and dig up the potatoes for tonight's tea, or rear a cow, or rear pigs. Can you imagine that? I mean, we all enjoy bacon, but none of us would like to muck out a stable of pigs. Let's go and take a look at some of the other countries with a similar problem to the UK in this industry. Another article here. I'll tell you now, if you just do a couple of searches, guys, you find that every country has got the same problem. Here we read, why are American farmers killing themselves? The suicide rate for farmers is more than double that of veterans. Can you believe that? This is something that is not really being caught by mainstream media, and many of us don't even know that this is taking place. And the reason for this taking place in the first place is because how difficult this industry has become. And if you're part of this industry, it is like a war every day. And at some point, these people are giving in, and they are taking a difficult route out. I think we've hit jackpot with this article. It goes on, why farmer suicide rates are the highest of any occupation. If we just go down to here and just read this. In the US, the rate of farm suicide is just under 2 times that of the general population. In the UK, as we've already read, one farmer dies a week or commits suicide. Farmers are killing themselves daily to protect the government protest the government taking over their prime agricultural lands for urbanisation. In France, a farmer dies by suicide every 2 days. Australia reports that one farmer suicide every 4 days. India yearly reports more than 17,627 farmer suicides. Can you believe that? Why is this taking place, guys? Why are so many farmers killing themselves? Again, you just do a quick search for, farmers committing suicide around the world, and you're going to come up with story after story after story. Here's another one: 12,000 farmers dead or died of suicide in 3 years. Unbelievable. Let me tell you something, guys. I don't need a crystal ball to tell you the future. If you've got a bit of logic and common sense and you can see the direction of where all this is going, you will know what is coming down the road at a later point in this period of time that we're all in. Look at this: 3 food factories in England and Wales close over coronavirus. And this is not isolated to the UK. This is a global problem. We're seeing these, anything to do with food, close. And you imagine how much more affects the farmers when they've done their job. Their gamble in some cases has paid off for them. They've reared their beef herds, pork herds, you name it, and now it's time to go and cash in on that, and they can't because the packing plants have closed. As a result, they're faced with either not rearing any more cattle at the point in time, because if they did, they just simply wouldn't be able to feed it all. So they're left with now an option: destroy the cattle, raise the new cattle up to the market standards, and when that hopefully has got to that point, they can cash in on that, and they'll just have to write off this year's hard work and profit. Or just kill yourself. Simple. There used to be a point in time where, let me tell you where this is all going to go. There used to be a point in time where there was just villages here in the UK, and you would probably remember this. Villages grew into the small towns and then into cities, like we see anywhere else in the world. But there was a point in time where it was attractive to go into a city because of the amenities that were there. Readily available electricity, gas, jobs was there. Now these cities are becoming stagnant places. A good example is San Francisco, Silicon Valley. Nobody can afford to live there hardly, because the average price in San Francisco is something like $1.5 million. Who can afford to live in a city where the majority of the houses cost so much? But the problem is, people are now leaving that city at an alarming rate. There is like an exodus happening in San Francisco. And I watched a documentary on it the other day. San Francisco and New York are pretty much bankrupt. They can't keep the people in the cities because the property prices got so valuable. Most people now work from home as a result of this coronavirus. But the point is this: there is no gardens in densely populated cities. They're not self-sustaining environments, and eventually people will leave them. And we're seeing that now, because these amenities that drove people into the cities, like jobs and things like that, are no longer the things that keep people in cities. In fact, people want to get out of the cities for a cleaner and more environmentally, better life. And that's what we're going to see in the future. But before we do that, I want to just say, we haven't reached the equilibrium at this point. There is going to be a lot more farmers killing themselves. There's going to be a lot more of the farming industries and industries that rely on farming and agriculture closing down. And as a result, we're going to be in real big trouble. There's never been so many people on this planet. There is 7 billion people on this planet. And you know what? We all need food. And when you go down the chain, it comes down to whether there's a season to be growing in to start with. And there isn't. And we know why on this channel, don't we? Because there is 2 big problems we're facing: a grand solar minimum, low solar output, shrinking heliosphere, allowing more cosmic radiation in to our solar system, and then we've got a weakening magnetosphere as a result of a planet going through a magnetic reversal, and we ain't reached the equilibrium of this problem. We're not on the good side yet. We're not coming out of this problem. We haven't even gone deep into it yet. We've not reached the middle point. So things are going to continuously get worse from here on out. You can guarantee it. And when we get problems like coronavirus pop up, I don't care whether coronavirus is as deadly as it's been said. What I care about is the regulations that have been put in place already, which is destroying people's livelihoods, literally globally. This is insanity. It couldn't get any worse, could it, guys, than what we are looking at right now. But I'm gonna say this, it is going to get worse. More farmers are going to die, less produce is going to be in the shops, and we are going to be living without as a norm in the coming days, coming weeks, coming months and years. I guarantee you that we are going to lose what we've got. We've already passed the point where it was the best. We are now at, on our way down, and as we go further and further down this road, we're picking up speed. There is going to be an almighty crash where civilization will break down as a result of this, and I'm not exaggerating in any way. Your neighbours, you're going to see them have a nervous breakdown on the spot when they lose their job, they lose the property, and the kids are standing there outside the house whilst the car is being towed away and the repossessors are changing the locks. This is a reality that is going to face everyone. It is the same reality which is killing off our farmers around the world, because what they're being told is, you haven't made the payments on your loans, we're going to have to come in and repossess some of your equipment. That means he can't ever do his job again. So he's just got land now with piling up bills that he can't afford to pay, and inevitably, the bailiffs come in and they will take the house, or the repossessors come in, or foreclose on his loans, his house is gone. And what's left to do? Sling that rope up onto the rafters in the barn and go and hang yourself. I said this in a video last night, didn't I? The monetary system is outdated. It is well past its sell-by date, and the only people that want the monetary system in place still are those people that are at the top of the food chain, and I'm talking less than 2% of the world's population. They're the only ones that want to keep this monetary system in place. There is no need for it. The world has plenty of resources, and even in times of magnetic pole reversals, we can work through these times. But with the monetary system in place, people losing their jobs, massive redundancies, overpopulation, massive demands on food production, reducing agricultural, arable land, and farmers killing themselves. Tell me something. Where is the rainbow in this story, guys? How close are some of even our viewers to that point of giving up? Tell me. How close are your neighbours? I've seen some of my neighbours selling cars recently, and I can tell by the look on their faces. I know people that are self-employed, their vehicles haven't moved for months because of this coronavirus. It is destroying people's lives, and it's a no wonder that people, use the slightest excuse to go on the streets and destroy something, because it's just pent up frustration and anger. I've had enough of this coronavirus and all the crap that comes along with it. Wearing masks in shops. The only time people used to wear masks in shops was when they was going to hold it up and they needed to be disguised. It is just unbelievable, the world we live in right now, and it is going to get much worse, guys. I promise you that. Guys, we really need to do something. We are coming close to the end of the month. We've raised the miserablest amount of money this month for our observatory, yet we have done more work this month than any other time in the history of our observatory. Do you know that? I really don't know what to say to encourage people to, jump in and help us. I really don't know what to say. But it needs help, guys. We can't keep this observatory running with nothing. So there's a link down there. If you want to help us, do it on PayPal or become one of our patrons. It's entirely up to you, but I'll say what I usually do. You make the best of it as you can, and I'll say what I usually do. Just bye for now.